Welcome, dear friends, to our shared path of inner discovery. Today, we gather in unity to explore a question that is both ancient and eternally fresh. What is the most important thing in our spiritual journey? The answer is not straightforward, nor is it one that can be distilled into a simple phrase. Instead, it's a tapestry woven from the many fibers of experience, insight, and transcendent understanding. As we navigate this exploration together, let us open our hearts and minds to the profound lessons that await us. In the first part of our dialogue, let us turn our attention to the concept of presence. Presence is the art of being fully in the moment, of allowing the noise of the past and the whispers of the future to fade into the background so that the vibrancy of now stands in sharp relief. It is here, in the immediacy of the present, that we truly meet the essence of existence. We often overlook this simple truth in our quest for spiritual growth. The present moment is the only reality we ever truly possess. But how do we cultivate this presence? The cultivation of presence begins with the breath. Consider the breath as a bridge between the body and the spirit, a rhythmic dance that weaves through every moment of our lives. By turning our focus to our breath, we anchor ourselves in the now. Each inhalation is a new beginning, each exhalation a letting go of what no longer serves us. In this way, we train our minds to return to the present, to this breath, to this heartbeat, to the very center of our being. Moreover, presence is also about witnessing. It involves observing our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. Imagine standing by the bank of a river, watching the waters flow by. Our thoughts and feelings are like the current. They have a natural momentum, but we do not need to be carried off by them. We can acknowledge their existence and yet remain steadfast on the shore of awareness. This brings us to the importance of acceptance in presence. To be present is not only to witness, but to accept the reality of this moment without resistance. It is to say yes to life as it is, not as we wish it to be. Acceptance is not passivity. It is active engagement with the truth of now. In acceptance, we find a peace that is not contingent on circumstances, but is an expression of our deepest nature. Let us now explore a dimension of presence that is often neglected, the joy of simple being. In our modern world, where doing is often valued above being, we forget the simple pleasure of existence. The joy of presence is the delight in life's simple pleasures, the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the melody of a bird's song, the richness of a deep breath. When we are truly present, we rediscover the wonder that children see in the world, the pure awe of life itself. Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons. As we reflect on the significance of presence, let us consider how it transforms our interactions with others. In the state of presence, we meet others not as roles or functions, but as fellow souls on the journey of life. We listen deeply, we connect authentically, and we touch the space where all hearts are one. Through presence, we cultivate compassion, understanding, and love, the very qualities that make the tapestry of life so rich and meaningful. To close this first part of our exploration, reflect on how presence has shaped your own journey. Where have you felt most alive, most connected, most authentically yourself? In those moments, you were likely fully present, fully engaged with the unfolding miracle of now. Charting the soul's course, the transformative power of intention in spiritual practice. Moving into the second part of our exploration, let us now turn to the principle of intention. While presence grounds us in the now, intention sets the compass for our journey. It is the seed from which our actions grow, the blueprint of our soul's deepest desires. But what is intention in the spiritual sense, and how does it guide us on our path? Intention is often mistaken for mere goal setting, but it is much more profound. It is the clarity of purpose that aligns our deepest values with our actions. It is the whisper of our inner voice that calls us toward our true path. When we set an intention, we are not dictating the outcomes. Rather, we are opening a channel for the universe to conspire with us, bringing about circumstances and opportunities that resonate with our soul's calling. To harness the power of intention, we must first become still and listen. In the silence of meditation or the quiet moments before sleep, we can hear the stirrings of our heart. What is it that we truly seek? Is it peace, love, wisdom, or perhaps a deeper understanding of our place in the cosmos? By naming our intention, we give voice to our innermost yearnings. It is crucial to understand that intention is not a one-time declaration but a living practice. Each day we renew our intention, refining it as we evolve. We must also release our attachment to specific outcomes, trusting that the journey itself will unfold as it is meant to. In this trust, there is a letting go, a surrender to a wisdom greater than our own. Let us explore the relationship between intention and action. Intention without action is like a seed that never touches the soil. It has potential but does not grow. Action without intention, however, can be directionless, like leaves blown about by the wind. When intention and action come together, there is a sense of flow, a graceful unfolding of events that feels both effortless and deeply aligned with who we are. In practical terms, setting an intention can be as simple as taking a few moments each morning to affirm your commitment to a quality or value you wish to embody. It might be kindness, patience, or courage. Throughout the day, check in with yourself. Are your actions reflecting your intention? If not, gently steer yourself back. This is not about self-judgment, but about realignment, about returning to the path with compassion and perseverance. Consider the ripple effect of intention. When we live with intention, we become lighthouses of possibility for others. Our clarity and purpose inspire those around us, and our actions create waves that can transform our communities and even the world. By holding a vision of what is possible, we contribute to the collective energy that shapes our shared reality. And so, dear friends, as we wrap up this segment on intention, we invite you to hold your intentions close to your heart. Let them be the silent partners in your journey, guiding you with their gentle wisdom. As you carry these intentions forward, remember that they are not static but living energies that evolve along with you. The pillars of resilience, cultivating inner strength on the spiritual path. Now let us venture into the third aspect of our spiritual journey, the cultivation of inner strength. Inner strength is the quiet power that sustains us through life's challenges and changes. It is the bedrock upon which we build a life of meaning and purpose. But how do we cultivate such strength, and what does it look like in practice? Inner strength begins with self-awareness. It is the deep knowing of who we are, including our vulnerabilities and our gifts. This self-awareness is not always comfortable, for it requires us to confront parts of ourselves we might prefer to ignore. Yet it is in facing these truths that we find the courage to grow. We become resilient, not by avoiding difficulty, but by meeting it with openness and a willingness to learn. Self-awareness also leads us to self-acceptance. When we accept ourselves fully, we cease the internal struggle that saps our energy. We acknowledge our imperfections as part of the human experience, and we embrace our wholeness. From this place of acceptance, inner strength naturally arises. We no longer waste energy on self-criticism, but instead channel it into our growth and contribution to the world. Another key to inner strength is adaptability. Life is a dynamic flow of experiences, and rigidity often leads to suffering. When we are adaptable, we move with life's ebb and flow, responding to each situation with creativity and resourcefulness. We are like trees that bend in the wind. Our flexibility is a testament to our strength. Let us also consider the role of boundaries in cultivating inner strength. Boundaries are the protective guidelines we set for how we engage with others in the world. They are an expression of self-respect and a declaration of what we will and will not accept. Healthy boundaries allow us to give generously of ourselves without depleting our own resources. They enable us to interact with others from a place of fullness rather than obligation or resentment. Finally, inner strength is nurtured through the practice of gratitude. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to the abundance that is already present. It opens our hearts to the simple blessings that fill our days, often unnoticed. By regularly acknowledging these gifts, we cultivate a sense of contentment and a deep wellspring of joy. In this joy, we find the strength to face life's complexities with a steady heart. As we conclude this third segment, take a moment to reflect on your own sources of inner strength. How have they supported you in times of need? How can you cultivate them further? Remember, inner strength is not about never falling, but about the grace with which we rise again. Awakening beyond self, the final ascent into spiritual liberation. In this final part of our journey today, we turn to the essence of spiritual liberation, the release from the confines of ego and the discovery of our true nature. Spiritual liberation is often seen as the pinnacle of the journey, but what does it truly mean, and how do we approach it? Spiritual liberation is the realization that we are not the limited, separate selves we often take ourselves to be. It is the understanding that at our core, we are part of a vast, interconnected web of existence. This realization does not come from the mind, but from direct experience. It is a knowing that transcends words and concepts, a deep recognition that the essence of who we are is beyond form, beyond identity. It is boundless and inherently free. To approach spiritual liberation, we must first examine the nature of the ego. The ego is the constructed self, the narrative of who we think we are, complete with our personal history, beliefs, and perceptions. It is a useful tool, allowing us to navigate the world, but it is not the totality of our being. When we identify exclusively with the ego, we become trapped in its limitations. We suffer its insecurities and we are swayed by its desires. Liberation begins with the loosening of this identification. The process of disentangling from the ego involves observation. We become mindful of the ways in which we define ourselves and how these definitions limit us. We notice the patterns of thought that reinforce a sense of separation and the emotions that keep us tethered to a narrow sense of self. As we observe, we naturally begin to detach. We see the ego for what it is, a set of conditioned responses, not the truth of our being. As we continue to observe, a space opens within us. It is the space of pure awareness, the witness that observes without judgment. This awareness is our true nature. It is unchanging, peaceful, and inherently free. The more we rest in this awareness, the more the grip of the ego loosens. We begin to experience moments of clarity and peace that are untainted by the ego's drama. Spiritual liberation is also intimately connected with the dissolution of attachment. Attachment is the root of much of our suffering. It is the clinging to things, people, and ideas in the hope that they will provide us with happiness or security. However, this clinging is based on the false premise that happiness comes from external sources. Liberation comes when we realize that the source of true happiness and peace lies within us. The practice of non-attachment does not mean that we become cold or indifferent. On the contrary, it allows us to engage with life more fully, to love more freely, and to act more compassionately. Without the fear of loss or the craving for gain, we can be present with others in a way that is authentic and pure. Another key aspect of spiritual liberation is the embrace of impermanence. Everything in the manifest world is in a constant state of change. When we resist this truth, we suffer. When we embrace it, we flow with the natural order of things. We appreciate the beauty of each moment, knowing it is transient. We learn to let go gracefully, understanding that the end of one thing is the beginning of another. Finally, spiritual liberation is realized in the service of others. When we recognize our interconnectedness, we see that serving others is an expression of our own true nature. It is not a duty, but a natural outpouring of love and compassion. In service, we find fulfillment and joy, for it is in giving that we receive the greatest gifts. As we conclude our time together today, let us sit with the essence of spiritual liberation. It is not a destination to be reached, but a reality to be realized here and now. It is the understanding that we are not separate from the life that dances all around us. We are that life, in all its mystery and splendor. Dear friends, our dialogue today has taken us through the core aspects of the spiritual journey: presence, intention, inner strength, and spiritual liberation. May these words be seeds planted in the fertile ground of your being, growing into wisdom that guides you on your path. Remember, the most important thing in the spiritual journey is the journey itself, the daily practice of living with awareness, purpose, and an open heart. Thank you for sharing this sacred space with me. May your journey be blessed with insight, love, and moments of profound awakening. When you are ready, carry these lessons into your life and let your light shine for all to see.